The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. The prestigious award was accepted on her behalf by her daughter, Ana Corina Machado, who said that her mother will arrive in Oslo later today. Venezuela's opposition was widely regarded as having won the 2024 presidential election. There was speculation earlier as to Machado's whereabouts, as she has spent most of the last year in hiding. The chairman of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee urged Nicolas Maduro, to accept the election outcome and to step down.
In this hall, with all the gravity that attends the Nobel Peace Prize and this annual ceremony, we will say what authoritarian's leader fear most. Your power is not permanent. Your violence will not prevail over people who rise and resist. Mr. Maduro, accept the election result and step down.
Well, at that ceremony, Ana Corina Sosa Machado delivered a speech written by her mother, accusing Nicolas Maduro's government of terrorizing the people of Venezuela.
These are crimes against humanity, documented by the United Nations. State terrorism deployed to bury the will of the people. Some of the more than 220 children detained after the elections were electrocuted, beaten, and suffocated until they repeated the lie the regime needed, falsely incriminating themselves of being paid by me to protest.
Well, joining me now is Christopher Sabatini, an expert on Latin America at Chatham House in London. Mr. Sabatini, it's good to have you with us. What did you make of the speech delivered by Machado's daughter?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant because it expressed, first of all, optimism in the future. It did, of course, highlight the abuses of the regime, especially after the stolen election. But it also talked about hope. It talked about restoring Venezuela to what it was. It talked about reaching out to all Venezuelans, and that the prize was really given to all Venezuelans. And indeed, that election that you correctly said, Brent, was stolen on July 28th, 2024. The ability of the opposition to first turn out people to vote in that effort, but then also to monitor the elections, produce the results, analyze the statistics, and have that demonstrated by statisticians as being credible to show that the election was stolen from them. 67% of Venezuelans voted for the opposition candidate, who was a stand-in for Maria Corina Machado, and they demonstrated that. And that is very powerful, in part, not just because it accomplished and helped consolidate leadership and demonstrate the cruelty of this regime, but it also demonstrated the capacity of Venezuelans to organize and deliver and to stand up for their freedom. And that was stolen from them. And so I think it was a brilliant speech. I thought also the chairman of the Norwegian Peace Prize Committee also gave a good speech, and to say, basically, you know, the days are numbered. Violence cannot maintain order forever or control forever. People have spoken.
Yeah, you speak to the global goodwill that there is for Machado that was on display today as well. We know that this prize was announced back in October, and I'm wondering, has it had any impact on Maduro's rule at home? Has it made a difference?
I think, if anything, it's made him angry. This government is truly cruel, as I mentioned. And in fact, one of the sayings after the stolen election, in which 2,000 people were detained, over 20 people were killed in the protests after the elections, was that Venezuela went from being just an autocracy, a corrupt autocracy, to being North Korea. Any idea that this government has of other people trying to defend their rights, of speaking out against the government, get quickly shut down. In fact, this will be a risk for Maria Corina Machado when she decides to return to Venezuela. And it will also demonstrate, perhaps, that the Venezuelan government will either try to let her back in to demonstrate it can allow the flow of people if it wants to. But the other possibility is it doesn't allow her to return, or she has to sneak across the border. And that is equally troubling as well. To deny citizens a right to return to their own country is a fundamental violation of human rights. So, no, this has given her a great deal of protection in terms of the international community. But for Nicolas Maduro and his cronies and his henchmen around him, this only irritates them, which is unfortunate and demonstrates how cruel and intolerant they are.
Machado was obviously not at the ceremony today. Nobel officials have said that she is safe and that she will be in Oslo soon. What do we know tonight about her whereabouts?
We really don't know. There are rumors that she fled by boat from Venezuela to a Caribbean island and then took a plane. Other people are saying she came across the Colombia border. We don't know, and quite frankly, we shouldn't know, especially if she wants to get back to the country. But we know from a phone call she had with the Nobel Prize chairman, she gave a small speech there. She was boarding the plane at the time. She couldn't make it in time for the ceremony, but she will be there tomorrow. And again, I think what's powerful about this is that for decades, the Venezuelan people have been trying to convince the world of the cruelty of the Maduro and first Chavez administration, of the serious deterioration of democracy in the country. And quite frankly, it took a long time for the world to pay attention. This prize is long overdue, but it does recognize one of the most monumental efforts, in fact, any opposition has made around the world trying to operate under autocracies to help people restore their voice and their vote and the accountability of their government. So when she speaks tomorrow and when she's interviewed across many media, I hope, she will be speaking on behalf of a majority of the Venezuelan people, both in Venezuela and among the 8 million that have been forced to flee.
Christopher Sabatini with Chatham House. We appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent.
I want to go now to our correspondent, Johan Ramirez. He attended the Nobel ceremony. He joins us live now from Oslo. Johan, I can imagine that everyone at the ceremony today was asking, where is Ms. Machado?
You're right, Brent. That was the question everybody were asking during their ceremony and yesterday as well, as we were waiting her to show up for a press conference. But today, besides her absence, which is not a little detail, of course, I mean, she was the protagonist of today's ceremony and she wasn't there. But besides her absence, I think that what called the attention the most was the speeches. I mean, on one hand, the speech of the president of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. I wasn't expecting such a political speech. It was time and again condemning Nicolas Maduro's regime, asking for a political change in Venezuela. And one of the most shocking phrases, or most important phrases, was he said, I quote, Mr. Maduro, accept the electoral results regarding last year's elections and step down. He was asking Nicolas Maduro to resign. It was a very strong message. And on the other hand, the speech of Maria Corina Machado, read by her daughter, it was a very emotional moment. She was underlining that a political change is going to come to Venezuela. She was underlining the promise to those millions and millions of Venezuelans abroad, Venezuelan migrants, that they will soon be able to come back to their lives, to come back to their country and to build back the future of Venezuela in democracy.
So let me ask you then the question that I guess people are still posing. Where is Machado? What do we know about her whereabouts?
That's the big question, Brent, and I fear I cannot give you an answer because everybody is asking where she is right now. Actually, all the people you see behind me, they are asking the same question. The building you see behind me is the Grand Hotel, is the place where Nobel Peace Prize winners used to stay as they spend the days here for the ceremony. So a lot of people are here waiting for her, a lot of journalists, because what we do know, according to the Nobel Peace Prize Committee and according to Maria Corina Machado's team, is that she is going to arrive in Oslo in the next few hours. Is it going to happen tonight? Is it going to happen tomorrow morning? We don't know, but it's going to happen soon.
I know that you have been talking to some of the Venezuelans who are in Oslo tonight. What are they hoping that this prize will bring them?
That's pretty interesting, Brent, because we are in Oslo, and wherever you walk around, you hear a lot of people speaking Spanish and speaking Venezuelan Spanish with the Venezuelan accent, which is very peculiar because hundreds of Venezuelans wanted to come here to support Maria Corina Machado in this historic moment for Venezuela and for Latin America. All of them, they are waiting and expecting this prize to give a final back to a political change in Venezuela. But is it going to happen? We have to remember that this prize comes in a very important moment after a huge military deployment from the U.S. in the Caribbean, putting pressure on Nicolás Maduro. So they are expecting that this prize will be a final force to that political change. But is it going to happen, Brent? I hate to finish a live shot with this phrase, but I think I cannot find a better one for this time. So we have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Machado and Venezuela's fate, if it's connected more so with the decisions made by a man named Donald Trump. We will see. Our correspondent Johan Ramirez in Oslo, Norway tonight. Johan, thank you.